Hey guys, it's OSK. Today I have the second episode of OSK Coaching with LunaQuests. And again, this is an educational series intended to provide tips to new and veteran players alike to help them improve at the game and offer different perspectives on what they could do differently in their Spellbreak gameplay. Now, everyone is free to submit games for me to coach. All you have to do is send me a direct message on Twitter, Twitch, or Discord, whatever you feel comfortable sending DMs on. Just need a full-length VOD of a game. It has to be at least 10 minutes long and 15 or more players in the lobby. And I'll be accepting submissions from any point in closed beta 2. And yes, that means even patch 2.1 and 2.0. Despite the massive changes, that will still be okay for right now. And if you're interested in this, please submit a VOD, and you can find me reviewing it live on Twitch, where you're free to ask questions after I'm done with the coaching session. You can also leave live feedback. And please be sure to like the video if you liked it, and make sure to subscribe for more videos, of course. And now, here's LunaQuests with our coaching session. I have not seen this recording before. This is the first time going through it. And hopefully it's a good one. He told me it was a good one, so I hope it is. This looks like a recent one too. It's 0.41. This should be a closed beta 2.2. This will be good. Good ones are when people lose. I don't know the outcome of this one, so hopefully there's some good material. All right, so he's going to choose to run Dust Bowl. Lots of loot here. Always a good drop. But again, a lot of people like to go here. So if you're going to come here, make sure you're good. Oh. You just get bumped? Yeah, he just got bumped up. That's unfortunate. So he does a good decision of trying to get as far away from the guy as possible, which is good. You want to land on the outskirts when that happens to you. It's unfortunate. And I might as well call out this guy's also running Toxicologist, and you can tell it's a new patch because he is running the modified 222, which is the runic fluency now that it's 2 cost, fervor, recovery. Now, as opposed to Thirsty, Recovery is better in an immediate fight. Thirsty is going to be better if you find some separation, which in a more competitive lobby doesn't happen too often. It could happen, but generally Recovery is the better option. In general. You can make Thirsty work. I'm not saying it's bad. It's really good. In my personal opinion, Recovery is just a little bit better, even after the nerf. Immediately pick up Stone. It's a good secondary option if you have nothing else. To be honest, you could do either. Honestly, their benefit is so similar. All right, so what Luna does right here, that's fine. Honestly, he knows that they're low. Oh, that's an interesting little thing he does there. Nice. Very nice. In this particular environment, it's hard to get high ground and still keep your eye on the enemy. What he does here is he has a long-range gauntlet, which is always good. Just trying to get some residual damage down. He does a good job of backing away and staying away. It's exactly how you should play that. The other, now 17, ends up getting the first guy, but he can already tell that he's like 1 HP. You technically don't even have to switch the gauntlet right there. I mean, Legendary is a good color and it's a good look. But you can just tag him with Lightning if you want. Same effect. And then you can pick up the gauntlet later. It'll save you some time. Other than that, he gets a belt. Gets all looted. All's good with the world. Between Recovery and Thirsty, to tell you the truth, I run both. They're so similar in terms of benefit that I honestly just run both. It depends on my mood. I will say this though. Thirsty is better with Toxicologist. Thirsty is much better with Toxicologist. Recovery is better on... Recovery is going to be better on classes that have trouble getting away or breaking line of sight. So think of classes like Pyromancer, for example, or even Tempest. Tempest, it's so hard to get away from the line of sight of an opponent that you're just floating around so much. And even though you have more mobility, it's mostly vertical, and you can't really break line of sight as easily unless you have a good rune. So in those kind of fights where you can out damage with Squall and that sort of thing, Recovery would be theoretically better. Toxicologist, there's a lot of situations where you can go invis and quickly get a potion off. Like if you use Shadow Step, if you use Vanishing Mist, it has a longer duration of invis, so you can get quick pots off that way and also get behind cover. Conduit, you can do either. Stone Shaper obviously want recovery because you're just sustaining all day. I'm gonna fast forward until he gets into a fight. That's the main crux of this. We want some fights. I can actually skip quite a bit. Okay, this is a good one. All right, so we see Luna sees an opponent out here, does the immediate okay option. And Tacos, you did this too. You went ahead and left clicked this guy to try to get any damage you could. What I would do personally, my pin options, if you just hop up here first, or here, or here, or here, or there. Look at all the arrows. Look at all your options. You get up on the higher ground. Because as a general rule, even if you see a Toxic Cloud, just always assume at first that your opponent's going to be a Stone Shaper. It might not benefit you now, but somewhere down the line, it's going to save you 40 damage to the face. All right, so what does LunaQuests do? He sees the guy low, stays on the ground. This man's fighting someone. The guy can just shatter your ankles if he wants to. It's more just food for thought. And you're right, it is an armor check. You can also do it from about 5 feet higher. So what Luna does is absolute W key. Which he's low, he can get away with it, especially in pubs. Let me go back to here. Also, my software is really bad. It doesn't let me really get on the right frame. So if you know a good video software, let me know. So this Toxic Slap right here, unfortunately, the Levitate took away a lot of his mana, so he couldn't get the quick second slap to finish it out. What he does here is okay. That's good. As long as he can land that wind spam and he's confident in it, that's a good play. This guy, on the other hand, is completely new. He is doing everything wrong. And I don't blame Luna for W keying. Oh, but he hits that frost shot, actually. Oh, no! Oh, and he's running stone. This guy just saw a... Okay. This guy just saw one of Marcus's frost highlights and was like, yo, I'm going to be just like that guy. My name's Death Scythe, and I'm edgy as hell, and I'm going to get all my frost snipes. It's exactly what you don't want to do. It's exactly what you don't want to do. This is actually perfect. Okay. I can actually break this down from both ends. Look, if you're up against someone who isn't W keying on the ground, it's a great option. Right there. He's wind spamming. Both of these are on the ground. Watch what he does here in just a second as well. Watch what he follows up with. Guess what? He's still on the ground. You have the stone gauntlet. Use it. You might as well use it. You might as well see what your opponent is going to do when they get face checked for 40 damage. You can frost snipe, but it's more effective and more reliable to just stone. You have all the opportunity in the world. Go ahead. And now what Luna can do right here, he doesn't follow the assumption of Stone Shaper, which I guess is fair. I mean, unless the guy is legendary stone and it's glowing off of his hand, and you know what I mean if you've ever seen it. You probably can't even tell until he uses it. So if he's going to predominantly use Frost, he's doing a good job of just jabbing him in the face repeatedly. Unfortunately, this man's hitting his shots. So what you want to do is exactly what he did right there, except you don't want to spam your spells. Let me get a little bit further. There we go. So this is fine. He's out damaging him, I guess. I mean, he could take the high ground, but he's choosing to do with Frost, so what you need to do is just slap as much Toxic into his face and just laugh at the fact that Toxic counters Frost for some reason. All right, now that's a very important giveaway. This right here. This is the most important thing out of the entire fight, in my opinion. Right there. You notice that this guy's hovering. This guy is going to stay, and he's going to slowly travel to right about here. That tells you that he's a Frostborn. Not only does it tell you that he picked the wrong class, Keck W, but it also tells you that he's not going to sustain off of any stone, and he's likely to use stone less, as we've already seen. So by this point, you could consider being on the ground a little safe, especially if you don't see any legendary stone. It would be better if he gets right up here. No. Little too early. Little too early with that Shadow Step, in my book. Let me get back to there. Again, guys, this video software stinks. If you have video software that you like to use and that you would suggest to me, please let me know. I'm desperate right now. What I would do is just get on this perch, throw a few more Toxic slaps. If you see the guy charging up a Frost, then you use Shadow Step. It's a better angle. You get closer to the guy, more of your Outbreak hits. It's all around the better option. It's like right there. Right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Good Lord. Frames? Frames? I have to watch this thing over again. I'm begging you guys. All right, right there. So he sees him right here. If he doesn't use Shadow Step, he's already right here. Sees him charge. Shadow Step. Outbreak. Dead. Easy peasy. Instead, he tries to hit the Outbreak from that far away. Gets literally 12 damage. Throws down the Toxic Cloud. He's dashing away from his enemy at this point, which as a Frostborn is the exact opposite you want to do. If he sets it up better, he could be behind him, hit an Outbreak, maybe not finish the fight. And if he doesn't finish the fight, he then throws his Toxic Cloud, gets behind him again, and then ends it there. So Luna is a lucky one. This man spamming Levitate for some reason. Hits a good boulder. At that point, Luna realizes that it's a Stone Shaper. He's going to path up here. At least that's my hope. I forgot what he does. Yeah, he paths right there. Shadow Step, more for dash utility than for actually landing his damage. And at that point, he's running recovery. Let me go back just a little bit. All right, right here. All right, 41 damage, 41 health right here, okay? 41 health and Runic Fluency, which is, you have to assume, Harmony is a little bit of a weird place right now. It's 3 costs, and it's a lot of investment to get comparatively little reward. So you can kind of assume that no one's going to run it. You can just assume that. If they end up not running, then you can play around it. But just assume that they're not, because 222 is better, in my opinion. So he's at 41 health. What can this man do? Use that stone, break this ice, slow him, freeze him, Frost Snipe, Luna's dead. Instead, he uses up all his mana on that Frost and ends up dying. Could use Vanishing Mist to close the distance. This is why I like having y'all in the chat. Live feedback's always good. Why is he win talks? Because I don't know if he hasn't found a fire yet. He might just like win talks. And I mean, it's not the worst option in the world. Could run Stone Toxic, which is what he was doing earlier because he couldn't find anything better. He did have a Lightning at one point, but Lightning offhand's kind of bad. Unless you're using Lightning for the stun, I wouldn't run it, in my honest opinion. I think it's mostly because he found an epic, and epic wind isn't the worst damage in the world. So that's another part of it too. It's also a demoralizing weapon. It's a lot like lightning. It's like lightning at close range. And to clarify, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. Wind is probably the last thing I want to run offhand on my toxic setup, but at the same time, it can still be effective. You just have to play it very specifically. In fact, it almost requires you to play as close range as toxic. The only benefit that it has as an offhand is that if you see a guy on like 20 HP and you feel like you're going to miss your toxic slap and then wait for like the 1.3 seconds that it takes with fervor, you could just wind spam and have like no lag in between each shot pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much it. Again, guys, I'm not saying it's good. Okay, I'm not saying it's good. It's just, if you're going to play it, that's the way to play it. That's all I'm saying. All right, now this is, you see? It's exactly what I'm talking about. He's just comfortable with it. I mean, nothing wrong with it. There are better options, but I mean, if you're going to use it, that's the way to use it. And he has a legendary now, which does pretty good damage. For anything else that he could find, now he sees an epic fire right there briefly. He could pick that up, but that's assuming that he can hit his fire gauntlets. Which at the end of the day, just use what you're comfortable with. Now, this looks like a long extended fight, so I'm going to back up a little bit to that first little engagement. All right, so he gets a spreading sickness, which is cool. It's actually a detriment. So what this does, there you go. He sees a DF, and he sees the DF pretty much right as or right after he throws the toxic clouds. What he needs to assume is that anyone that is in that fight right now could light up these toxic clouds. And this is exactly the wrong move. So he goes in. If these get lit up, I don't know the exact range, but it's a little too dangerous for my personal taste that he could get hit with DF. Now, the good thing that he sees right here is that this guy, Vital Stone, and he's going to have 50 health at the max. His opponent right here, you don't know how much health he has. And also, you don't know if he's also running stone. Well, that's not true. You can assume the green glow, the red glow, he's a DF. He's a DF boy. And this guy tries to run out, doesn't realize that Luna's right there, the wind spam. It's exactly when you want to use it, when you're that close. And legendary wind spam, in my opinion, is going to be better than common tox. And he's just comfortable using it, which is fine. You can win with it. That is good. Let me get to this point of the fight. Gosh, I'm going to use Virtual Machine after this immediately. Not right there. All right, so he gets ignited right here. He does a very good job of patiently waiting out the ignite. He's looking for his opponent, realizes that he's right there. What I do and don't like, I do and don't like this. He's using Levitate just a little bit too much. And even more so, he's using Levitate to the point where he runs out of mana, which in my opinion is never good. So instead of landing right there and losing all his mana, what you could do right here is let go just a little bit before that. You land right here or right here. You still have mana. If he, for whatever reason, appears right here at that exact second, you have firepower still to do something with. At this point, he also has 2 Shadow Steps, so that might be part of his plan. But either way, it's still better to have mana to fight with. He's going right here. Shadow Steps in. Going to land the Outbreak. Unfortunately, only lands a portion of it and does 12 damage. And you just wind spam. Not wind spam. Toxic slaps him. That's fine. He has the health advantage. He can W key him at that point. Vital stones. So many vital stones in this fight. Throws down the toxic puddle. I think at that point you realize that you're on a different guy. You saw that he had low health, so the corrosion's going to do him a lot right there. What he needs to do is let them fight it out. He's going to pick up the new belt, get his shields up. That's exactly right. It's exactly what you want to do. You notice that you're into a new fight. You don't know the health of the second guy. You notice that he has his attention on the other dude. Just back off, get yourself some shields, and go in at full health when he's most likely low. Plays that exactly right. See, he has full health, and that's exactly why you do what he just did. What he does right here, though, is kind of bad. So never do that. Never do that at all. What can you do differently? You can throw toxic slaps, making your puddles. You're damaging him even more at that point, and also slowing him if he's not running Harmony, which he most likely isn't. You could throw down a Tornado right here, and then hope to damage him, although that's a infinitely worse option. And what this also does, gives you one less movement option, and he also jumps off the cliff. So where's he going? He's going in the ravine. You don't know this guy's setup. You don't know this guy's gauntlets. You don't know this guy's sorceries. This guy could be a Stone Shaper. Now, I say that he throws down some puddles, so you know he's a toxicologist. Probably not running stone. He is lucky in this situation. And with him using wind spam right there, he's only doing 4 damage. You're only doing 4 damage right there. You could be throwing toxic slaps if you know that you're chunking armor. The corrosion's going to do it anyway. You can go, if he's drifting this way, right here, you could jump up here, have a better angle, and then follow him along the back end. Maybe surprise him if he doesn't see where you go. Either way, the wind spam is probably the worst option you could do. Wind Tornado, loots in the middle of a fight. I mean, if you're quick, I guess you could. Levitate, taking out the full mana. Not exactly what you want to do. All right. Better than not damaging him, I guess. So he lets this guy go. I guess he lost interest or something. I'm not sure. I don't know if this would be the same guy or anything, but you can assume with all the firewalls going on in the DFs that either of them are going to be pretty low. Exactly what he does. Armor checks. Good stuff. Wind spam. Personally, instead of draining down your armor like that, or draining down your mana, what I would like to do is Shadow Step Outbreak, if you're confident in it. You can even Vanishing Mist Outbreak, since Shadow Step is more of an immediate movement option. Either way, you can go Invis, and you can get some big damage on this guy without wasting all your mana. So that's another option you could do. Ends up getting a kill anyway. Wind spam is kind of meh, but it still works. At this point, he's just searching for people. What I would do, you see in the minimap that this portion of Avant-Garde, this wall he's looking at, is in the zone. Just get up there. Better vantage point, and you don't get caught out by a Stone Shaper. At this point, you're done looting. You can't really see it all that well. Now you can. He has epic gear, legendary, epic. There's almost nothing he can pick up if this is the build that he's going to run that's going to be any better unless he wants to replenish potions. So what you can do, just get up here. And I think this is a man. No, it's not. Yeah, just get up here. He ends up doing the right option and then falling right off of it. Just stay up there. Don't have to do anything else. Him being in the flat ground like this is going to open him up to Frost Snipes. Opens you up to Stone Shapers. And that sort of thing. Just something you can do better. If he's confident that no one's shooting at him at this point, that's fine. He can strafe along this wall. He still has 40 seconds to do it. He notices that it's actually out of the zone up here. Even so, this portion of the wall's in. He could just follow that portion. And he could be looking here and then swiveling looking there. Either way, it's out of this ravine. It's out of that ravine right here, which is exactly where you don't want to go. Oh, sees a guy up here. I'm going to talk about his pathing real quick. All right, see the guy up there? Just go here. What you end up doing when you do this is, for one thing, that is a hard angle to make. I'm not even sure that I could do it. I'm not saying I'm the best player in the world, but it's a difficult angle to make. If you just go up here, if you want to levitate, you can go up here, and then you're here. If you go up here, you notice that this little jab is sticking out. He gets hit and goes back down and ends up going this way anyway. Just another option. Ooh, ends up burning Shadow Step, and Vanishing Mist. So he only has one movement option left for the next 3 seconds. Not a situation you would put yourself in. All right. Now, on first inspection, this might seem bad. On second glance, this guy is running Frost. And by putting these clouds here, what he can do is, first of all, if this guy spams Frost, which he just shot here in very quick succession, it's possible that he's going to spam again, which I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah, right here. This Frosts, he's probably going to get slowed, and you have 2 extra clouds right here. What you could do, since slow is very powerful and it also freezes more often than not, you could run around here, get a Vanishing Mist. You can either go this way, you could loop around the back, or you could just trampoline it and just look for the guy. Your corrosion is probably going to be indicating where he is. So that's one option you could do. At the same time, personally, I would just throw down your Toxic spell, because for one thing, it negates Frost shots, and for another, it leaves you with Vanishing Mist to use for later in case something else happens. At this point, he knows that he can shoot Toxic through, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Accidentally gets hit by the Frost cloud. It's doing okay right here. Hits the Outbreak. At that point, you can just W key. You have no damage done to you. Let me get my pen. You have no damage done to you here. Literally, you can just W key. And by the way, guys, in case you're new, don't run Vital Stone. You'll see what it does. You run around for a second, and then you die. Don't run Vital Stone. All right, 2 opponents left. He's this guy right here. That's not bad. Dude, how many Vital Stones are there? Oh my goodness. Let me go back to the beginning of this fight. I said the beginning of this fight. Hello? Alright, so he's throwing Toxic into his face. This guy can't hit his fireballs. He's looking to get a wide-ranging... He's looking to get the wide-ranging DF going, which is okay. If you know the guy's running Con Flag and he's hitting on the ground next to him just like that, first of all, don't bank on him missing for a second time, but it's not the worst thing in the world. If you throw it at him and he's spamming the fire, there's a good possibility he's going to DF himself. Especially if there's Con Flag involved, which, by the way, is one of the worst skills in the game. Hopefully it gets reverted. Vital Stone, Chase, unfortunately misses the Outbreak. Gets hit a lot, actually. Holy moly. This is why in the OSK school of thought, you don't spam your toxic. It gets hit twice off the DF wall. Twice off the DF wall, it's immediate 40 damage in addition to the ignite. Oh, that hurts. And this guy is a pyromancer, you know it is, so he also gets hit with pyrolysis, which does double damage. Oh, he loses all his shield. That guy gives up because he's slowed, and then he's done. So right now he's banking that no one third parties him. And he only has recovery. He doesn't have thirsty, so he needs to just pray to his god or pray to his lord or whatever you pray to that no one's going to approach him right here. Thankfully, no one does, and he gets off scot-free. Just do not spam your toxic. You really only want to hit it whenever you know you're going to hit the outbreak. Or if you're not going to hit the outbreak, do it when you're like point blank to barely point blank. Okay, sees the wind right here. This guy... All right, let's just assume a few things, okay? Let me go back to this previous frame. Throws down a tornado with no spell interaction. You can either assume that he doesn't know spell interactions, or you can assume he's a Tempest. If he's a Tempest and he goes up in the air, you can assume that he's a decent player. If he does what he does there, you can assume that he's not decent. In addition to that, he's wind spamming. At this point, Luna, if you're confident in your abilities, you control like you are right now. Or if you are a tryhard and you just want to get it over with, that guy's completely new. That guy's completely new. Let's just do this. Victory. Yeah, this is exactly the reaction I would have too. Oh, you dirty, dirty boy. All right. So that does it there. Now I will pass the mic on to chat. If you have any questions about anything in the VOD or any feedback for the VOD, let me know.